Hoennshy by Fenix. Chapter 11. Crimson Sky. The air was still as the night had settled on the small town. Dewford was all but asleep, except for 3 young mares who galloped and flew quickly through the back streets. Every building lay silent and dark, leaving the 3 illuminated only by moonlight and the faint red glow of the sky as an inferno raged to the east. Fluttershy and Pinkie followed Rainbow Dash towards the docks, hoping to find Mr. Briny aboard his ship. "Mr. Briny! Mr. Briny!" Rainbow yelled as they galloped through the weather-beaten boat. It bobbed up and down gently, floating silently over the cresting waves. A yellow light flickered on the boat's wheelhouse before a silhouette inside moved around. "I knew he'd be here!"
"Didn't he say he was staying in town?"
Fluttershy asked as she watched the cabin door swing open.
"Why is he head back over here?"
"There wasn't any place to stay except for the Pokemon Center. He wasn't there the last time I checked."
"What do you want?"
the old sea pony asked, leaning into the railing as he looked down to the 3. The seagull was asleep, laying on its back as Mr. Briny grimaced.
"Sunset a while ago. Why ain't you fillies in bed yet?"
"Look east! There's something on fire!"
Fluttershy yelled, pointing to the burning sky. Its intensity had faded, yet it still gave her a sickening pain in her stomach. The smoke ascended over the sea, engulfing the horizon in burning cinders.
So it is,"
Mr. Briny stated, rubbing his gray stubble.
"So, what do you want me to do about it?"
Rainbow flew up to the deck and hovered in front of the sea pony. "We want you to go check it out, and we were hoping you could sail us there. We have to go to Sleeport anyway, right?" She flew over the rail and landed on deck.
"Yeah, in 2 days,"
He explained, glaring at Rainbow.
"Also, you 3 want to go towards a wildfire? You're supposed to run away, you stupid fellas."
He began pacing back and forth, watching its gaze between Rainbow and the other 2.
"Tell me, why should I risk my vessel to bring 3 greenhorns to a set of burning land? You're expensive. I'm too old for foolish games."
Fluttershy looked down and thought. Mr. Briny had been harsh before, making the 3 have to beg to board his ship the first time. The fire in the east gave her chills unlike any other fire she had seen before. The same feeling she had when he had fought with Norman. It felt as if the fire wasn't supposed to happen. She didn't realize why she had begun begging on her Pokedex for not responding until she saw the blaze in front of her. Something felt terribly wrong. It seemed like deviations were becoming worse.
"I know you don't like us. You think I'm pathetic, but we have to go. Boys could be injured."
Fluttershy argued.
"We have to do something about it."
"There are firefighters and police to take care of things like this. What makes you think you're needed over there?"
Mr. Briny removed himself from off the railing and walked to the raised ramp.
"What good reason? What is it?"
He asked, eyeing Fluttershy. Fluttershy locked eyes with him, watching his moves closely.
"He said there was a reason he let us on the first time, but why?"
She thought. She couldn't come up with why Mr. Briny let him on the boat in the first place. She didn't know how to convince him to bring him back to the mainland. She looked back at the blaze, feeling the knot tighten in her stomach. Then looked at the sea pony.
Well,
What was that?"
Mr. Briny asked condescendingly.
please. I know you can't trust us. It's an odd request, but we have to go. See it there.
Fluttershy shuddered as she looked back. She murmured, clenching her chest.
Please.
Mr. Briny looked down at her, and Pinkie Pie laughed.
"Me, the daughter of Norman, is reduced to begging from an old captain."
He looked away from the ponies up to the horizon, taking out a small brass telescope and looking through it. Rainbow flew down from the deck and landed in front of her friends. "Ugh, well, that was pointless," she groaned. Then yawned, trying down for the dock. "I'll go back to the Pokemon Center to get some shut-eye." Fluttershy yawned and nodded her head, following Rainbow back onto the island.
I don't know why we thought we'd work. We barely got into the...
Fluttershy jumped to the sound of the loud clang behind her. She quickly turned around, and noticing the ramp onto the ship was lowered onto the end of the dock. A quick sight gushes between them. The mare approached the ramp and looked up at Briny, stood on the side of the ramp.
"So, you fellas coming aboard or not?"
Mr. Briny yelled out, placing a white, black-billed hat on his head. He donned a blue blazer with brass buttons running down the front of his white trim. Fluttershy stood confused, watching as the grizzled pony tapped his forehead impatiently on the ramp.
I thought you were going to...
"Don't crest your captain, sailor!"
Briny interrupted her, stepping out the ramp.
"You want to get to Sleeport so badly, you're going to have to work for it. I'm your captain now. You take orders from me. Now come aboard the ship before I ship off without you sorry lot."
Without another word, Fluttershy trotted up the ramp, followed by Rainbow and Pinkie, keeping her eye on the now authoritative captain. He drew a line with his eyes towards the backside of the cabin, forcing the 3 to line up with their haunches onto the stairwell wall. The blocking of the boat was more rougher than she remembered, as she saw Pinky stumble into the wall from her tired movements. After Rainbow brought Pinky back to her host, and with the three thoroughly lined up, Mr. Bryan casually made his way to the mill, before scanning the three of them. Fluttershy gulped, anxiously waiting to see Pony's next action.
So, you want to be adventurous, huh?
He began to pace in front of them, casually glancing towards the east every few seconds.
If you're going to use my ship, you're going to be my crew. Is that understood?
Fluttershy nodded as Rainbow and Pinky looked at each other, making short gestures with their hooves.
I can't hear you, greenhorns!
He yelled, snapping the three to attention.
Yes.
Fluttershy said softly. Rainbow and Pinky followed suit, slightly mumbling their responses.
Yes, Captain, you lot!
He snapped, grimacing at his lowly crew.
You want to be on my ship and that's my crew? Then act like it. You understand me?
Yes, Captain! The three of them yelled in unison, putting a smile on the seats of the captain's face.
Good. Now let's put you to work. Rainbow, was it? Sound the bell and build the wheelhouse as we depart. When we get close enough to the flames, fly ahead what's happening. Blinky, I need you to command the spotlight on top of the cabin. Make sure we don't run into anything in the open water.
I'm doing, Captain.
Pinky said with a salute.
Me, before I give you instructions, I need to speak with you in the cabin. There's something I need to clear up with you.
Mr. Brain said to Fluttershy, before turning his back to the two mares.
Sound the bell, we're shoving off.
Rainbow flew to the bell, struck the string, causing the bell to toll and echo off the cliff face. Mr. Bryant entered the wheelhouse, sitting with his wooden chair, pulling several levers, and turning the ignition key. With the clank of chains, the anchor slowly rose from the water as the engines blazed to life. With a sudden jerk, the boat began moving back from the dock, bowing out as to face the blaze. Fluttershy and Pinky gasped the railing as the boat turned, trying not to bowl each other over. The boat crawled to a stop and sailed forward with incredible speed.
Pinky, man the second line. There's no lighthouse where we're headed.
The captain yelled out, spurring the pink pony to action. She quickly bounded outside the cabin, elbowing to the ramp to the top. She flicked on the slits, giving light to the bulb and swiveled to shine on the land below. Pinky giggled as she turned the light to and fro, boring the light across the sea and warehouse light.
Slow it down, lass. Can't see a thing.
The captain yelled.
Oops, sorry.
Pinky laughed in embarrassment, before concentrating the light onto a single point on the waves. With the boat now cruising speed, Fluttershy closed her eyes and took a nervous deep breath. She couldn't figure out why Mr. Bright wanted to speak to her. She hoping it wasn't a private berating. Step by step, she slowly approached the cabin doors. Breath quickening as she came closer. Apprehensively, she pushed the door open, causing the stern Earth pony to look back at her. Worried, he closed the door behind her and kept her distance.
You want to see me, Captain?
She squeaked out. Watching the seagull hop down the control panel, she avoided the captain's gaze.
Yeah, I did.
He said in a soft tone. She never had so like bite to his words. With her deep breath, she tried to his side and looked at the open sea.
You know why I called her in here?
Didn't know, Captain.
Fluttershy shuddered, watching his small lines whiz by.
Don't you call her that. Just have a bit of fun with you three. This is about the other day, before you boarded tonight. You have any idea why I called you pathetic in my cabin when you first came?
Fluttershy lowered her head, picking up the captain.
To make fun of me?
Of course not. That'd just be cruel. I just want to get a rise out of you.
He explained, confusing Fluttershy.
Your father told me all about you when he first came to Peelberg. Oh, the stories he would tell. The girl with the fire in her eyes, he would say. She never backed down from a fight and sat her opponent's packing.
Sudden movement. He spun the wheel, backing astray, empty wooden boat.
That was close. That Pinky is a good sparrer when she isn't playing around, is she?
Fluttershy responded in silence.
Anyway, I was excited to see this firebrand of a Pokemon trainer for the first time. When you came to my cabin, I thought nothing of you. But when you told me your name, I was shocked, let me tell you. You're nothing like the story, so I tried to force it out of you. I thought you were playing games with me. So I let you on my boat to see what's right. I saw you come out to see your friend. I expect to see that side of you come out. I heard you talk about your nightmare.
Fluttershy looked up in surprise.
You heard that?
Her face flushed with embarrassment.
Yeah, but it's nothing to be ashamed of, I can assure you.
He said, patting Fluttershy in the back.
At that point, I needed more confirmation of this change you went through. I kept watching and saw you with that stowaway Totodile. Any other trainer would have thought it, but you approached it like it was a small foal. Can't say it was a surprise when I saw that. I tried one last time right before I let you on to rile you up. But you stayed as calm as you are now. I didn't know your father exaggerated so much.
Yeah, he does that a lot.
Fluttershy lied, trying to keep up with the story.
Your friends, did they come with you at Hoenn, Rainbow Dash, Bacon Pie?
He asked, tapping on the gazes with a hoof as he steered to the other.
Yes, they're my best friends.
She explained.
That's what I thought.
He paused for a moment, rubbing his stubble with his hoof.
May isn't your real name, is it?
First I took a step back, ice darting forth and back in thought.
How can you know my name? I only told it to one other pony.
She thought. Her mind scrambled to come up with an answer.
No, it's not.
First I answered.
Knew it. Call it an old sailor situation. May seems to be more of a Hoenn age than a general name. Was wondering why your name was so conservative compared to your friends.
First I breathed a sigh of relief.
So what's your real name?
It's Fluttershy.
She answered with a calm breath.
That sounds better. I think it suits you better too.
He said before turning his attention to the sky.
What do you think it is? The fire, I mean.
First I asked.
Well, it can't be a wildfire. Humidity's too high. We get constant rainfall throughout Hoenn. Places like Blackthorn where you come, sure. But not here. Especially not in Port Town.
Grabbed the radio receiver for the dashboard.
Rainbow, can you hear me?
They waited a moment before they heard a muffle.
Yeah!
Yes, Captain! From outside the wheelhouse.
We're getting close to the docks of the strait. I need you to fly ahead and make sure I'm not headed towards a burning dock. See if you can make out what's going on as well. I don't like the looks of it.
Briny commanded. Once he had said Pegasus salute, then bolted out through the air, blazing off from the boat. First I watched this rainbow disappear through the smoke, leaving a small rainbow trail behind her. First I crept out of the wheelhouse, leaning on the boat's railing, watching for any sign of Rainbow's return. She could see the shadow of a dock coming into view over the horizon. Also, the crimson light to consume the north land of it. A trickle of smoke seeped through its way through her windpipe, making her close her eyes and cough violently, leaving her eyes halfway open. She continued monitoring the flames. She stripped off her bandana, dipped it in water, covering her mouth, trying her hardest to keep from breathing the smoke. In no time, Rainbow emerged from the smoke, landing gracefully on the ship's deck. I just realized we got a lot of boat scenes here, and the movie has a lot of pirates. So totally not my intention. Fluttershy took herself off from the railing and pushed to her friend, waiting her scouting report. A hum made its way to the speakers as the captain slowed the boat to half its speed.
What'd you find?
He asked before Fluttershy could speak. Rainbow fluffed her jacket and desperately tried to wipe the soot off of her jacket. The dock is on fire. I can see that much.
What's happening over there?
Fluttershy asked her concerned. The red glow of the blaze made its way up to the boat as it gets ever closer, enveloping them in its light. The entire town's on fire, the Rainbow Mane Pegasus cried. I couldn't get a good look at it, but I couldn't see any pony left in town. She began to pace. I don't know what we're going to do. I could grab a raincoat and make it rain, but I can't seem to touch them. Alrus is probably useless since he's weak to fire. Wolfer is still pretty weak. Piggy's alligator is nowhere near powerful enough to put out the fire. Lurka's weak to fire.
Glorica?
Fluttershy asked in unison. You remember those creatures in the cave? The ones with the metal backs and all? I caught one of those while you were asleep, Rainbow explained, releasing the creature onto a boat. He yawned, looked up at Fluttershy. The crimson blaze glinted off his armor, flickering and pulsating in contrast to its bright azure eyes. He didn't stand much of a chance against Igni, so I figured he's not strong against it. Metagross?
Freaky, kill the lads!
Mr. Briny said over the speaker, prompting Piggy to switch off the lantern. The boat was on its final approach to the dock, slowing its speed to a mere crawl. With a choke, the engine severely slowed and the lights on the boat flickered off.
Prepare to dock!
He called out through the wheelhouse grass. Rainbow called back to Lurica and stuffed his Pokeball back in her pocket. Before Piggy hopped down from the cabin, the Grizzle Sea Pony turned the wheel to one final time and dropped anchor perpendicular to the dock, stopping the boat completely. As the ship rocked on the waves, Mr. Briny came out of the wheelhouse and lowered the ramp onto the dock, laying the three mares onto dry land.
Do you three know what you're doing? Will you be alright?
He asked, watching the three descend the ramp. First I could hear concern in his tone, like a father looking after his daughters. She looked down, meeting him back with a smile.
We'll just see what we can do. I'm sure there are more ponies that need our help.
The Pigman Pegasus explained.
I'll be here if you need anything. If you need to head back to Dewford, let me know. I'll be heading back in the morning to get ready, or for the group still over there.
The captain said before making his way back to the wheelhouse. Fluttershy sighed and turned around, her view now encompassed by the blaze. The dock was connected to a large, sprawling beach filled with umbrellas and folded up chairs. Several beach balls lay scattered on the sand, while others bobbled in the tide. The three mares tied down to the dock, Piggy galloping ahead of them. As their hooves hit sand, Fluttershy felt the sand's warmth flowing through her legs. It was tepid, but unusually so. As he drew closer, the heat of the flames rushed to Fluttershy's face. Fluttershy coughed more as he trudged along the beach and onto the stone roads of the burning town. Sleeport was in ruins. The Nautical Museum had fallen apart and was left in shambles. A building that held a large boat submarine was ablaze. The steel inside glowed bright orange as the cast iron beams emitted the crimson light they saw from Dewford. Not a single building stood unscathed in the wake of their fire. Each of them crumbled into themselves in ruin. Fluttershy raced the roof to seal their eyes, coughing from the lingering smoke and fumes. The sign welcoming him in the sleep-port lay on the ground, covered in embers and burning with a harsh glow. "Let's start looking! There has to be some survivors!" Rainbow said before breaking off from the group, beginning to search through some of the wreckage, heaving out heavy chunks of roofing and timber. Fluttershy flew down in the other direction, trying to fan off some of the thunder with the gas from her wings. After a few moments, all that remained of the flames on the wreckage in front were smoldering ashes, so she got to digging her way through. Each piece felt heavier for the Pegasus as he continued coughing. She covered her mouth again with a rag, trying to fill the air between each removed piece, straining to roll an iron girder off the collapsed building. She felt the hair on the back of her neck stick up, as if some pony or something was watching her. Slowly, she turned around and squinted, trying to focus on a small, standing figure in the distance. The figure was mostly in shadow, with the light of the flames licking at its body. It reflected the light, still covered in shiny metal. Turning her body to fully face the figure, she studied as it remained still, not moving as the flames hissed closer to it. It was bulky and still. She felt sick looking at it, feeling as if it stared right through her. Breathing stirred as he tried towards Rainbow Dash, making sure she never broke eye contact with the figure. Before she made it to her friend, it twisted its head left and right, then backed up again, almost instantaneously. She let a tiny scream and ran over to Rainbow, who was still chipping away at the wreckage.
Rainbow!
Fluttershy stared, tapping the cyan Pegasus on her shoulder. "What is it, Fluttershy? Did you find something?" Rainbow asked, turning towards her friend.
Look over there.
Fluttershy pointed to the figure, so he continued to stare unabated. As Rainbow came closer, as a flash of light behind it, completely silhouetting the pony. Pulling up from behind him was a monstrous serpent. Its body segmented with spears. It was covered in multiple fins, with a great gaping maw hanging over it. However, the figure, body reaching high into the flames, as Fluttershy saw saliva drip from his mouth, sizzling as it hit the ground. She shuddered, quickly ducking behind her friend. Rainbow called out quietly to Pinkie, letting the pink pony hop over to her side as Fluttershy shook behind him. "It's probably nothing, Fluttershy," Rainbow assured her, making her way towards the shadowed figure. Pinkie quickly followed suit.
Rainbow, no!
Fluttershy squeaked before running behind the wrecked buildings. She stuck her way through the back streets, avoiding eye contact with the shadowed pony. To her right was a hollowed-out building with the front still intact. It was on fire, so she made her way inside, peeking out from a broken glass window to watch her two friends approach the pony. The light of the fire made his body visible. Revealing a horn on top of a pony, his body clad in ashier armor. A scabbard with a straight sword hung at his side, dangling against the side plate as it moved closer to her friends. The beast remained behind it, floating above the ground. She ducked her head and closed her eyes, hoping her friends to indicate it. "Hey, you!" Rainbow yelled, catching the outcry pony's attention. "Could you help us fight survivors? There's a lot of rubble to sit through." Fluttershy poked her head back up, seeing the unicorn only a few feet away from Pinkie and Rainbow. The blue-scaled monster set its head down behind the unicorn, its head laying against its master's side.
"There are still ponies here?"
It asked in a grizzled voice.
I think so. There might be some trapped under rubble,
Rainbow said before turning around, frantically looking for Fluttershy.
"Why should I help them? They were given a chance to leave,"
The stallion said, his tone saying it shivered down Fluttershy's spine. Rainbow quickly turned back, getting in the stallion's face. "What do you mean a chance to leave? Did you do this?" she demanded, pushing her face on the stallion's tempered steel helmet. Fluttershy held her hose to her mouth, trying to shake off her nerves. She wanted to grab her friends and run, but she was paralyzed in place.
"You two, you look so familiar,"
He droned, tilting his head to glance at Pinkie, almost as if... He trailed off as Rainbow backed away, motioning Pinkie to her side. He tilted his head up and stepped closer to them.
"Your clothes, your colors, your naivete. You two must be the spark."
The what?
Pinkie asked, huddling closer to Pegasus. He laughed.
"All thanks to you, I can remember everything,"
He explained, before his head twisted again.
"If you're the spark, then your friend, she turned me into this horse!"
He exclaimed, stomping on the ground, making Rainbow and Pinkie step back.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Rainbow yelled. Fluttershy hearing the crack in her voice. Did you do this, yes or no?
I knew the blueprint would come when it saw this,
He said, gesturing to the smoldering ruins as Rainbow spread her wings in defense.
The last time a spark came to Hoenn, the blueprint was with them.
He took a step forward, followed by his serpent. Rainbow's face so cased in fury as he shoved his face into hers.
Where is the blueprint?
Blueprint? I don't know what you're talking about. But if you don't step off, Rainbow growled, butting her head against his. She gritted her teeth and stared him down. I'll take you right down, right here.
What? With your weak Pokemon?
He laughed, pushing Rainbow back. No, with this! Rainbow yelled. She turned to butt the armor stallion in the helmet. He crashed to the ground, tumbling back until he was stopped by the serpent's bulky horns.
Tell me,
he yelled, getting back onto his hooves. Scuff marks were now defaced the one's pristine armor, as he could hear the muffled, heavy breathing of the unicorn.
Where is Fluttershy?
Fluttershy quickly ducked her head down, trembled. The fact that the stallion knew her name scared her. Even knowing a Cloudsdale seemed innocent enough in hindsight, but even he didn't know her name. She sat back down with her back to the wall, shaking her hooves. After taking a deep breath, she closed her eyes and searched through May's memories for an answer as to who the stallion was, but the armor was complicating her search. His voice was her only clue, but it wasn't predominant in the girl's memory. She turned, afraid to look back at the scene, going behind her, so she delved into the only memories she could find.
I came to see why it was taking so long to start some parts. You Sips are held up by a mere child.
Fluttershy's eyes sprang open. The girl's memories had only surfaced in response to Fluttershy's present, meaning the girl had met the stallion here. With the town destroyed, the stallion obscured, she couldn't find a vivid memory. He didn't sound like anyone she knew, but the voice resonated with the girl. At the sound of a loud clang, Fluttershy jumped back in shock and peered out the window. The stallion was flat on his back, with Rainbow being restrained by Pinkie. I said we won't let you touch her! This is your last warning! Rainbow yelled, struggling to free herself of the Pink Boy's grasp. Let go, Pinkie! A blood-curdling roar bellowed from the serpent, making Fluttershy cover her ears. It rose from the ground and flew, circling around Pinkie and Rainbow. With one last shove, Rainbow escaped from Pinkie and bolted straight into the air. With pinpoint accuracy, she hit the creature under the jaw, sending it back through the air. It landed, swiftly turning itself to strike. With frightening speed, it flew through the air, rushed towards the Cyan pony. Pinkie ran to a rubble as the unicorn got back to his hooves and shook himself off.
Kill her,
he commanded, watching Rainbow blaze up the lingering sea of smoke. The serpent followed suit, trying desperately to keep up. As Rainbow emerged from the top of the plume, she dived down at frightening speed, striking and slamming the creature into smoldering buildings. Breathing was labored as she hovered directly in front of the ceiling of smoke, nosing the creature trapped under the rubble. Pinkie looked over her ruined home, taking notice of small chunks of metal and charred wood available to her. She smiled as she began hoarding into a pile. A quick look over her shoulder, she started dragging her pile towards the unicorn with a sly smile on her face. Pinkie, what are you doing? With a flash, a large column of fire shot out from the rumble, lighting the sky as it flew towards Rainbow Dash. She quickly noticed the blast and flew down towards the ground, now escaping the approaching flame. Just as he flew towards the serpent, it broke down the rubble and struck its tail into Pegasus' back, slamming to the ground before disappearing. She rolled a few feet before struggling to back to her hooves. Flapping her wings, she carried herself back into the air. She searched the area, awaiting the serpent's next attack, but was nowhere to be found. She looked. She felt something drip on her forehead. Rain. A downpour rained down from the sky, soaking the entire torrent of water. Fluttershy shivered as she placed her bag over her head, trying to keep herself dry. The ground hissed as the flames were doused, and the crimson sky returned back to its normal dark blue hue. Rainbow put her hoof over her face as she flew around, looking for the serpent. The serpent seemingly gone. She dived and dashed towards the now unprotected stallion, who stood silently in the rain. Just before she could strike the unicorn, a thunderous roar filled the sky. Rainbow turned her head up. Seeing the creature coiled against the cloud, a flash of white crackled through it. With a thunderous clap, a bolt of lightning roar arced right through Rainbow's body, making her scream in pain before crashing tumbling down to the ground. She lay there, scorched and unmoving as the monster landed beside her. Tears flowed down Fluttershy's cheeks as she recoiled back from the window and held her shaking forehead to her mouth. "Rainbow!" Fluttershy yelled, clasping her mouth with her hooves. Just as she screamed, the unicorn cocked its head towards her.
She's over there! Grab her!
The unicorn yelled, mostly the multitudes near her. First I tried forcing her wings open as the growls of the serpent came closer. She broke up into a gallop, frantically looking back to see how much time she had left, but the serpent broke through the wall and circled around the frightened Pegasus. She closed her eyes and shuddered, sobbing as she clenched her teeth and waited. Against her buried sentiment, she opened her eyes and watched as the serpent circled one last time before closing in on her. For a fraction of a second, she felt its wet, yellow-scaled underbelly pressed up against her fur, before she felt a small shock where she had touched. With a massive roar, the serpent recoiled back, electricity surging through his body. Right to the ground, squirming in agony as pain coursed through it. Fluttershy scrambled up a sandy piece of rubble, her eyes dying as they followed the monster. In a few seconds it stopped and lay motionless.
Take that!
Thinky yelled as he hurled rubble at the unicorn. Each piece hit and bounced off, knocking the unicorn back, before its hull glowed through the armor. Blue light fell to the debris pile, tossed across town, leaving Pinky with no ammunition.
You useless beast! Can't you even handle a puny unicorn?
He hollered, begging the creature to attention.
Bind the earth pony, she is no use to us. I'll take care of the unicorn myself.
With that, the serpent flew through the air once more and descended upon Pinky. She scrambled down the road, trying to escape, but the tail of the serpent found its way under her belly, scooped her off the ground. Finally stirred to Pinky and brought her to the ground, forcing her to submission. She squirmed, but the serpent tightened its grip, causing her to yelp in pain. Fluttershy's pupils shrunk as she watched her two friends struggling to survive. She felt a tightness in her chest, causing her to grasp it, and slip into the ash-covered ground. She peered to her left, and watching the unicorn advance towards her. Desperately, she tried to force her wings open to fly away, to save her friends and run. A crackling roar threw her off her crouching teeth as 3 walls of fire surrounded her, seeming unaffected by the continuing downpour. Fluttershy turned back to the unicorn, who only stood a few feet away.
There you are, Una.
He stopped, peering around Fluttershy.
You're Pegasus, but you're wearing the hat and everything. Don't tell me you're Fluttershy,
he yelled, stabbing his nose in frustration.
What do you want?
Fluttershy gulped, breathing quickening as he tried to steal her courage.
You must read a blueprint. You have the green bandana and orange vest.
He came closer, backing Fluttershy towards the walls of flame.
What is a Pegasus doing as the blueprint? It doesn't make sense.
With the unicorn in a calmer state, Fluttershy looked with worry over towards her injured friends, anger rising towards the armored pony, her fear turning into focus. As her breathing quickened, she rose and flew to the stallion's face, starting flourishing through the eye slits of its helmet. Pupils disappeared, leaving only her irises and whites of her eyes.
How dare you have the flying fins!
She screamed, pushing her face into it, contorting with anger.
I don't care what you want from me, but I don't let you have it!
He heard a small chuckle from the stallion as he classically broke away from Fluttershy's piercing stare.
So, you are Fluttershy. Hollow-boned, cowardly Fluttershy.
He said condescendingly, before slipping its sword from its scabbard, holding it pointed threateningly before the Pegasus' face. She fell back and scrambled away, eyes returning to normal as the stallion regained his composure.
Help me, and everyone would be saved,
he stated.
Why couldn't you just ask? Why did you have to do this?
Fluttershy cried, eyes starting between the stallion and his sword.
What about my friends?
Even if you did ask, you'd never help me. Why would you? You're the blueprint. Everything in this world is crafted to fit your standards. Every person in Hoenn was turned into one of your horse beasts, giving you everything you could ever want. I've seen it happen 1,000 times. Your friends did help me a little, at least. The spark allowed me to remember every session, how they began and how they ended. How your starter became a coward to suit your pathetic nature.
Fluttershy's mouth ended agape. She couldn't formulate a single thought. Stallion continued.
I know what has to be done, and what my job is the calling.
What is it?
Fluttershy squeaked, bringing at the ash.
I am to break the time loop, and all I need is you,
he said before approaching Fluttershy, twitching once more. She scrambled back as far as she could without touching the flames, screaming up and keeping a pile of ash close to her.
I won't go with you!
She yelled, throwing the ash to the stallion, trying to slip by him. A quick wave of his hoof across his helmet. The unicorn stomped on the ground, causing Fluttershy to retreat back. In the distance, she could hear the faint wailing of sirens above the crackle of flames.
I'm not asking you to,
he stated, itching closer.
I'm forcing you to.
With swift movement, the stallion grabbed at Fluttershy with one of his hooves. As he touched her, she felt the same shock as before, watching the unicorn jump back. The armor on his forelegs shredded to pieces as shrapnel, scratching across the ash. Part of his armor destroyed, he lifted to grab her again with both hooves. A large jolt of electricity shot through him as he seized her, throwing him to the ground and making him scream in pain. The flames dissipated around Fluttershy as the unicorn writhed the ground, violently squirming on his body arcing back from the shock. Quickly, Fluttershy grabbed one of the scraps of armor and shoved it in her bag. When the unicorn incapacitated, she ran through the alleyway to grab at Rainbow Dash before she could get back up. She glanced back, watching the unicorn stumble and climb back on those hooves, only to fall back down.
Gyarados, get over here!
He screamed, the serpent releasing the pink pony in its master's call, slithering towards the unicorn. She couldn't hear him anymore, but she watched as the Gyarados hoisted the unicorn onto his back and flew off towards the sea. Fluttershy closed his eyes and let the rain wash away her anxiety. Breathing slowly, her adrenaline began to fade, allowing her to focus. With the sirens closer, the Pegasus flew to the still motionless Rainbow Dash. Fluttershy shook her, tried to wake the rainbow-maned Pegasus. She bent down to listen to Rainbow's vital signs, noticing a tear in the science sorts, revealing her cutie mark. She rolled Rainbow onto her back, watching the side Pegasus slowly rose and fell. Fluttershy breathed a sigh of relief before Rainbow coughed and hacked, easily opening her eyes.
Rainbow, I'm so glad you're awake.
Fluttershy said as the Pegasus looked around frantically.
Where's the monster?
And that unicorn! Rainbow yelled as she rose to her host, spreading her wings instinctively before arcing him back in pain.
What's wrong?
It's a small crick. Don't worry about it. Find you in a few days. Rainbow stirred her, slowly and carefully folding her wings to her side. What happened to those jerks?
I'm not really sure. That creature, I think he called it a Gyarados, tried to grab me, but a bolt of lightning knocked it away. The same thing happened to the unicorn when he tried to grab me.
Fluttershy explained. With Rainbow awake at her host, he scowled over at Piggy as he struggled to her hose. So you chased them off? I knew you had it in you, Fluttershy. Rainbow laughed, trying up to her friend.
Are you alright, Pinky?
Fluttershy asked, helping the pink pony to her hose.
Yep, I'm fine,
Piggy said.
Feel a little like a jelly donut without filling, but I'm alright.
She brushed herself off, trying to shake off some of the rain from her coat. The winter strikes grew louder as red and blue lights flashed from the north, coming closer to the ruined city. But the rain quieted, slowly to a sprinkle, then disappearing quietly. The large billows of smoke before had vanished, leaving the city in a lifeless lull save the three mares. So, what do we do now? Keep looking for survivors? Rainbow asked, stretching her wing. By the way, where does Stallion go?
The monster took him east. I don't think we have to worry about him for a while.
Fluttershy explained, noticing several vehicles emerging for the open road.
Why was he after you anyway? Did you do something to him?
Pinky asked, sitting down with Stoker.
He said something to me about being the blueprint or something. He tried to break some kind of time loop, and he needs me to do it.
Fluttershy stripped off her hat and rugged out.
He knew about ours too. Something about you guys turning him into a coward. I'm not really sure.
Ours? A coward? You went up against that terrible monkey in Norman's skin? No problem, Pinky said. Probably getting under your skin. Though, you did say something similar when that girl took you over. Rainbow said, piquing Fluttershy's curiosity.
What did she say?
Something about the world chasing ours into something cowardly. I don't know. She was talking nonsense, Rainbow said. Several large vehicles charged down the road, not being carried by ponies. Several large white trucks with red crosses, small vehicles flashing red blue lights, saved massive red vehicle. A ladder of troops charged down the road, stopped near the three mares. I wouldn't worry about it. They were just trying to rile you up.
I guess.
Fluttershy responded calmly. She had no idea why the conscious girl would taunt her for her docile nature. Maybe she knew something Fluttershy didn't. She shook her head in rejection and watched several uniformed ponies step out from behind the vehicles and rush to them.
Hey, you three all right?
A stallion in a navy blue uniform yelled, galloping behind several mechs. Two of them branched off and went to examine Rainbow and Pinky, carefully inspecting their injuries.
Yeah, we're fine. Just a bit shaken,
Fluttershy said, watching Rainbow fidget as the paramedic taped her wing.
That's good, the officer sighed. There was an extensive road and obstacles blocking the road here. Made it nearly impossible. Glad none of you were hurt. What was a lot of the light show? For a second, it looked like there were a lot of white flashes.
Oh, well.
Fluttershy started. No idea how to explain a stallion wearing armor, flying serpent without sounding insane. So he decided to do the next 16.
I don't know. We only just got here.
That's alright then. You missed a stallion armor with a massive Gyarados. At least according to the townsfolk who were coming over.
He's playing Constantly Fluttershy looked down on the ground to avoid eye contact. From the ambulance, several white-coated ponies spread out a large white tent with bold red crosses set out to the dust off the road. With Rainbow and Pinkie bandaged up, the paramedics escorted them to the tent. Fluttershy pursuing to let them rest. She looked back up to the officer who was speaking over his radio to a fellow officer.
So, the townsfolk escaped?
Fluttershy asked, prompting his stallion to put away his radio.
Oh yeah, dozens of ponies going straight out to Mauville. I suggest you do the same.
He looked around the city, taking note of their destruction.
There's nothing here for you now.
Thanks. Could I see my friends?
She asked, not knowing the procedure of breaking off conversations with law enforcement here. Last thing she wanted to be was arrested after this whole experience.
Of course. You know, your friends look pretty familiar. They're around from here?
Rainbow and Pinkie? No, they came from Johto.
She responded, taking a couple steps towards the tent.
What are the last names, if you don't mind me asking?
He asked with an inquisitive look.
Oh, they're Dash and Pine.
Fluttershy stated, questioning the stallion's intent.
Oh. I didn't know the Timberlingers had any relatives at Johto. I was wondering why you looked so familiar. That news must have been devastating to hear when your whole country away.
He was shaking his head.
Have been so close to each other, too. I was surprised.
Wait, what are you talking about?
She asked, halting their departure.
What news?
Just tell them I'm sorry for their losses.
He said, picking up his radio back and resumed his conversation. With a glum look, Fluttershy turned back to the tent and made her way over. Just as he arrived, two paramedics exited the tent, talking to each other, and letting Fluttershy pass through. With a small push, the tent flap opened, revealing her newly bandaged friends. They were laying on small white cots, surrounded by discarded bandages and gauze trimmings. Rainbow scratched their bandages, trying to alleviate some kind of itch.
Hey, Fluttershy, why you look so bummed?
Pinkie asked, to examine himself.
Something the police stallion just told me. Doesn't make too much sense.
Fluttershy took a deep breath.
He said, sorry for your losses.
What's that supposed to mean? Rainbow asked, once he got the tightness of her bandages. Nothing in this place has made sense so far. You know what? Let's forget about that. What do we do now?
Well,
Fluttershy tucked to her bag and brought out a shard of light blue armor. The edges were shredded and not clean cut. The lizard stock physically tore the armor apart.
the stallion said the ponies that went north went to Mauville. Maybe we were fast enough we could catch them and see if any pony could gather us information. That sounds great! Let's go!
Pinkie yelled, hopping up before Rainbow pushed her back at the cart.
Are you sure you want to do this now?
Are you alright? Rainbow asked, giving Fluttershy a concerned look.
Oh, I'm fine.
Fluttershy lied, trying to pass out the worries he had on the situation.
I'd rather find out about some information now while the unicorn is injured. Stay here and do nothing while he recuperates. I had enough sleep from the day before, so I'm ready to go if you two are.
Rainbow rose to her host, stretching her lips as Pinkie followed. Well, guess that settles it. Let's go to Mauville, she said, walking out from her tent. Just as Pinkie and Fluttershy left, they came muzzle to muzzle with a very stern-faced Rainbow Dash. You realize what this means, don't you, Fluttershy?
What do you mean, Rainbow?
Fluttershy asked, watching the sky turn a lighter shade of blue as dawn approached. You're gonna have to fight, and fight hard, Fluttershy, Rainbow stated. You can't think of these creatures as animals anymore. They have to be our protectors and monsters to our enemies if we want to survive. Pinkie and I can't do all the fighting. You have to push yourself. Understand? Fluttershy gulped. She had known to fight before, but the armor stallion made it all the more obvious.
I know. I'll tell you before, I'm not afraid to fight.
Good, let's get going then, Rainbow said before turning up the road and leaning toward Smallville. Fluttershy lowered her head as they watched, mind now focused enough to go over everything the unicorn said to her. She let her mind slowly process the information as she marched steadily up the road. Without thinking, Fluttershy let hours out of the Pokeball and then lay her ahead, covering her as the three made their way north.